Chapter 11. It hasn't started yet. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 11. It hasn't started yet. L.RG. Just as Su Wani and Xiao were teasing each other, Qin Xiu arrived at the alchemy pavilion. Some sharp-eyed outer sect disciples saw Qin Xiu and quickly went up to greet him. Hello, senior brother Qin Xiu. After one person greeted him, the others quickly followed suit. When Qin Xiu came in, his face was dark and he completely ignored the people who greeted him. He walked straight towards Zhou Yun's alchemy room, disregarding the outer sect disciples. What's wrong with senior brother Qin Xiu? An outer sect disciple saw Qin Xiu's gloomy face and hurriedly asked the disciples beside him. A disciple who knew the details whispered to him, "Don't you know? Senior brother Qin Xiu has special affection for little junior sister Qiao. He probably heard that little junior sister was here, so he purposely came over. Then, why doesn't he look happy?" The disciple replied, "Have you forgotten what happened just now? Qiao is clearly closer to senior brother Zhou Yun. Can't you see that she is still waiting outside his room?" He continued, "From the looks of it, someone secretly told senior brother Qin Xiu about this. This will be interesting to watch." "Ah, then wouldn't that mean?" The disciple couldn't help but exclaim, but his mouth was covered. "Lower your voice." As the two of them spoke, Qin Xiu approached Zhou Yun's alchemy room. At this moment, his alchemy room was already filled with people. The crowd surrounded the room so tightly that not even a fly could escape. The crowd was there not because Zhou Yun was refining pills. It was mainly because of eldest senior sister Su Wani and Qiao. The two of them were goddesses of the valley. It was extremely rare for most outer sect disciples to catch a glimpse of even one of them, not to mention meeting both of them at the same time. The disciples were single-mindedly admiring the two goddesses when they suddenly saw Qin Xiu walk in. They quickly greeted him. "It's senior brother Qin Xiu." "Hello, senior brother Qin Xiu." "Get out of my way," he shouted. His face was gloomy, and he completely ignored the greetings of his outer sect junior brothers. Everyone quickly made way for Qin Xiu. As the crowd parted, Qiao and Su Wani's figures could be seen. When he saw the two of them, especially Qiao, Qin Xiu's originally sullen face suddenly revealed a smile. He asked, "Junior sister Qiao, what are you doing here? What a coincidence." Qin Xiu quickly walked to Qiao's side and greeted her warmly. He was a completely different person from just now. The speed at which he changed his expression stunned everyone. Qiao muttered, "Why is he here? Why do I bump into him everywhere?" She had been waiting for Zhou Yun outside the room. When she saw Qin Xiu walking over, she immediately revealed an impatient look. Qin Xiu pressed on, "Junior sister Qiao, why have you come here? Do you want me to accompany you?" After he saw Qiao, his originally depressed mood immediately brightened up. He quickly went up to show his concern towards her. "Nothing here concerns you. You should leave soon." Qiao took Su Wani's hand and turned away from Qin Xiu. Qin Xiu was not at all perturbed by Qiao's impatience. He appeared in front of her again. "Junior sister Qiao, are you here to buy something? Do you need my help?" "No, you're so annoying." Qiao was getting impatient. Su Wani was oblivious to the relationship between Qin Xiu and Qiao. When she saw Qin Xiu coming over, she also greeted him warmly. "Junior brother Qin Xiu." She didn't have any bad impressions of him and only took care of him like a junior brother. "Hello, senior sister." When Qin Xiu saw Su Wani greet him, he also quickly returned her greeting. Everyone in Spirit Valley respected Su Wani. It was not only because she was the eldest senior sister, but also because she was especially gentle to everyone. She would not treat anyone differently based on their cultivation level. This was one of the reasons why she was respected and sought after by everyone. Moreover, she was one of the best-looking women in the valley. She was a goddess-level existence in everyone's hearts. Eldest senior sister, is there something you need here? Qin Xiu knew that the two of them were waiting for Zhou Yun to finish refining pills, but he acted like he didn't know anything. Oh, we are waiting for junior brother Zhou Yun to come out of the room. He's refining pills inside, Su Wani said gently. Upon hearing this, Qin Xiu was extremely jealous. What did Zhou Yun do to deserve Qiao waiting here for him? Even he had not done so. Who the hell did Zhou Yun think he was? Zhou Yun used to be a disciple at the first layer of qi cultivation. Even if he had achieved a breakthrough now, he was still a fifth layer qi cultivation cultivator. How could Zhou Yun compare to him? Qin Xiu vented internally for a long time before gradually regaining his composure. He wished he could slap Zhou Yun to death. However, he didn't dare to do anything in front of Qiao. Seeing that Qiao had a good relationship with Zhou Yun, he could only pretend to be on good terms with the latter. Is that so? Is Zhou Yun actually going to refine pills? If so, I wish him good luck in advance as he embarks on the bright path of alchemy. Qin Xiu exclaimed, pretending to be surprised. He continued, you might not know this, but I'm classmates with Zhou Yun. Back when we were still in the outer sect, I could already tell that he had a talent for alchemy. At that time, I advised him to try out alchemy, but he was only focused on cultivation. Now, he has finally thought it through. Qin Xiu sighed softly, as if he had been liberated from a heavy burden in his heart. He spoke as if he was genuinely looking out for Zhou Yun. I believe that with Zhou Yun's talent, it won't be long before he becomes an official alchemist. He's been inside refining pills for a while, right? Unless I'm mistaken, he should have succeeded by now. Qin Xiu declared solemnly, as though he was highly confident in Zhou Yun's abilities. Qin Xiu's flattery of Zhou Yun had changed everyone's impression of the latter. Is Zhou Yun that powerful? Even Qin Xiu has such confidence in him. Zhou Yun must really have some talent in alchemy. Qiao and Su Wani were also moved by Qin Xiu's words. So junior brother Zhou Yun is that powerful? Su Wani said gently. Are you that close to brother Zhou Yun? How is it that I didn't know about it? Qiao looked at Qin Xiu and asked suspiciously. Just you wait and see. I'm guessing that he has already succeeded in refining the pills. He should be able to come out in a while. Qin Xiu once again made a bold declaration. Although he said these things, he despised Zhou Yun internally. He thought, Zhou Yun, let's see how you handle this situation when you come out. Right now, everyone is looking forward to your success. If you don't succeed, then you'll be a joke, hee. Let's see how you're going to get out of this predicament today. Deep down, he did not believe that Zhou Yun would be able to successfully refine the pills. Finally, after 15 minutes, the door of the alchemy room slowly opened. The surrounding crowd quickly peered inside. Qiao, Su Wani, as well as Qin Xiu, also looked over. Zhou Yun slowly walked out of the alchemy room. His face was calm, and his deep eyes showed no emotions. It was as though he had yet to start refining pills and had just entered the room. It was as if he wasn't the one refining the pills. Looking at Zhou Yun's calm expression, the crowd was a little suspicious. Someone asked, did you succeed? Or did you fail? Spill the beans. Why are you acting like this? Another person speculated, could it be that it hasn't started yet? Chapter 12. Appalling. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhou Yun walked out of the alchemy room with an indifferent expression. Qiao was about to speak when Qin Xiu interrupted her. Old classmate, how's your pill refining going? Did you succeed? Qin Xiu asked excitedly. Right now, he truly was excited. It wasn't because he wanted to see Zhou Yun succeed in his alchemy. Instead, he was excited to see Zhou Yun embarrass himself in front of Qiao and the others. His heart was filled with contempt for Zhou Yun. In such a short period of time, how could a poor man like Zhou Yun, who had nothing, succeed? Everyone's attention was also drawn towards Zhou Yun as they all looked over. Due to Qin Xiu's flattery just now, everyone was guessing whether Zhou Yun had succeeded in refining the pills. Upon hearing Qin Xiu's question, Zhou Yun immediately understood what had transpired. Of course it was a success. Zhou Yun said with an indifferent expression. Upon hearing Zhou Yun's words, Qin Xiu didn't even think about it and directly replied, "It doesn't matter if you fail. Next time. However, before he could finish, he suddenly stopped mid-sentence. His eyes were wide open as he asked in disbelief, "You succeeded?" His eyes widened even further in shock. How was that possible? Qin Xiu's exclamation immediately caused an uproar. Everyone present was stunned. Their eyes were wide open and filled with disbelief. Ji Ha, who was in the crowd, also had a mocking smile on his face when he first saw Zhou Yun emerging from the room. He thought to himself, how could a poor man like Zhou Yun succeed? Alchemy was not like cultivation. Pills were not so easily refined. However, his smile only lasted for a moment before it froze too. He was stunned after hearing Qin Xiu's exclamation. Ji Ha's eyes were wide open. His face was twisted. He was petrified. That was impossible. How was that possible? It was absolutely impossible. Zhou Yun must have been joking. Su Wani and Xiao's eyes quivered with emotion as they looked at Zhou Yun in amazement. Su Wani was even more astonished. From the very beginning, she did not have much hope for Zhou Yun's alchemy. After all, he did not know anything in the beginning and did not have any herbs to practice with. No one would believe that he could succeed in one try under such circumstances. L.C. Even a genius alchemist would have to go through several practice runs and receive the guidance of a great teacher before they could occasionally succeed. That alone was pride-worthy. It was rare to see someone like Zhou Yun who could successfully refine some pills on his first try. No, it should be said that this had never happened before. Su Wani regained her composure and stared at Zhou Yun with a look of curiosity. Xiao's mouth was slightly agape as she looked at Zhou Yun in disbelief. "Brother Zhou Yun, did you really succeed?" Xiao suppressed her bewilderment and quickly asked. She suspected that she had misheard him. Although she knew that with Zhou Yun's talent, he would succeed in alchemy sooner or later, she did not expect him to succeed on his first try. Furthermore, from Zhou Yun's calm expression, it was as if refining pills was a very simple matter for him. It didn't take him much effort. The crowd snapped back to their senses and pricked up their ears. They all suspected that they had misheard the former. Of course I succeeded. How could I have failed? Zhou Yun laughed and joked. As soon as these words were spoken, the surrounding people immediately gasped. Their ears had not played tricks on them. Zhou Yun indeed claimed that he had succeeded in refining some pills. After hearing his answer, Xiao beamed from ear to ear. "Wow, brother Zhou Yun, you're amazing." Xiao quickly stepped forward, wanting to see the pills that he had successfully refined. Su Wani also regained her senses and looked at Zhou Yun. She also wanted to see what kind of pills Zhou Yun had refined. Xiao came to his side and flipped his hands open, but she couldn't find the pills. "Brother Zhou Yun, where are the pills you refined?" When Qin Xiu saw how close Xiao and Zhou Yun were, the jealousy in his heart was stirred up again. All these years, he had never even held Xiao's hand. Yet now, Xiao had taken the initiative to hold Zhou Yun's hand. How could Zhou Yun, this pauper, be so intimate with his little junior sister? "Zhou Yun, you're not lying to us because you failed to refine the pills, are you?" The anger in Qin Xiu's heart had long overwhelmed his rationality. He no longer put on an act like before, but directly ridiculed him. Everyone came to that realization when they heard Qin Xiu's ridicule. That's right, Zhou Yun didn't know anything, so how could he have succeeded in refining the pills in one try? He must be lying to them. He must have wanted to show off his abilities in front of everyone. Whispers erupted among the crowd. It was obvious that they did not trust Zhou Yun. Zhou Yun did not care about the discussions around him. He smiled and reached out to stroke Qiaoer's head. They are in my sleeve. I'll take them out. Aya. My hair is all messed up by you. Qiaoer's face reddened as she complained to him. Her coquettish appearance made others envious of their interaction. Zhou Yun. Don't tell me you're trying to pass off the pills distributed by the sect as the ones that you refined, said Qin Xiu as he gritted his teeth and looked at the two of them flirting. Qin Xiu's words caused everyone present to distrust Zhou Yun. More and more people started to gather. They all wanted to see Zhou Yun make a fool of himself. Qin Xiu looked at Zhou Yun, who seemed to be in a difficult position, and the ferocity on his face became more intense. He wondered how Zhou Yun would escape this predicament. Today, the latter was destined to be infamous in the entire Spirit Valley. Zhou Yun did not care about their attitude at all. He stretched out his hand and took out a cloth bag from his sleeve. Then, he slowly opened it. Are there pills of this quality in the sect? Zhou Yun opened the cloth bag, and several round pills were revealed. As soon as he took them out, they immediately shone with a bright light. Everyone was attracted by this phenomenon and quickly looked at what was in Zhou Yun's hand. These are perfect-grade pills. Su Wani immediately exclaimed as soon as she saw the pills. She covered her mouth and looked at Zhou Yun in astonishment. She couldn't help but let out such an exclamation since she had seen something completely unbelievable. Zhou Yun had actually managed to concoct perfect-grade pills. Furthermore, this was his first time dabbling in alchemy. Many people were stupefied when they heard her exclamation. Everyone was completely petrified on the spot. It was dead quiet. Everyone stared at Zhou Yun in a daze while they were flabbergasted. There was a dead silence. The sneer on Qin Xiu's face was frozen. After a long time, his expression suddenly changed. His eyes suddenly narrowed as he looked at Zhou Yun in horror. His mind was blank. He didn't know what to say anymore. Zhou Yun had managed to refine perfect-grade pills on his first try. This could no longer be described as incredible. This was simply appalling. The surroundings were deathly silent as everyone stared at Zhou Yun, aghast. Everyone was astounded, or rather, taken aback. They were completely petrified. All of them looked at Zhou Yun in shock. The scene was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. Chapter 13. Perfect-grade pills. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Impossible. That's impossible. Qin Xiu looked at the pills in Zhou Yun's hand while rubbing his eyes in disbelief. Then, he shouted out loud without caring about his image. One couldn't blame him for shouting. The situation before him was too shocking. His worldview was shattered. Qin Xiu felt his face stiffen, but his wildly beating heart couldn't calm down. How could he believe this? Who would believe that? Who would dare to believe it? Qin Xiu knew that everyone present probably thought the same. Zhou Yun had refined some perfect-grade pills. If word of this got out, people would probably think of the crowd here as fools. Alchemy was not like cultivation. Although having talent in alchemy was crucial, more importantly, they needed a large amount of resources to spend on trial and error. Even with the guidance of a great teacher, alchemists would only be able to refine pills after slowly accumulating enough experience. The sect had to invest a huge amount of manpower and resources to train alchemists. This was on top of the countless resources required for cultivation. Furthermore, there was no guarantee on the quality of the pills produced by the alchemists as they trained. They might even fail to refine grade 1 pills. Alchemy and equipment forging were two of the most resource-intensive professions in the cultivation world. The complexity of the process and the resources required were unimaginable. No matter how talented a person was, it would be difficult for them to succeed in these two professions without any guidance, yet alone refining a perfect quality item on their first attempt. This was the stuff of dreams. When everyone came back to their senses, they refused to believe this reality. Someone questioned, "This is fake, right? Nowadays, there is no such thing as a perfect grade pill. You aren't using fake pills to fool us, are you? However, they really look flawless. Grapes are also flawless. Is there any use eating them? How can this be true? Zhou Yun must be taking us for fools." That's right, no one has ever seen a perfect grade pill before. We only know a few appraisal methods. This could have easily been faked. That's right. These must be fake. They're fake. Zhou Yun is treating us like fools. The crowd voiced their skepticism of Zhou Yun. In an instant, their initial shock turned into complete disbelief. The main reason was that perfect grade pills were extremely rare, and no one had even seen one before. Naturally, they could not believe that these were real. Everyone thought that Zhou Yun was trying to please the crowd by taking out some fake pills to deceive them. It was chaos all around. "What are you doing?" A stern voice resounded in everyone's ears. Everyone quickly stopped and looked behind them. They saw an old man with a head of white hair standing at the entrance of the alchemy pavilion. He was wearing a dark purple robe, and there was a child who seemed like his attendant beside him. Although the old man had a head full of white hair, there was not a single wrinkle on his face. He looked very youthful. "It's Medicine Elder." "Why is Medicine Elder here?" Medicine Elder is the elder in charge of the alchemy pavilion. He must have heard the commotion just now. It's over. We must have caused too much of a ruckus and alerted him. Whispers continued amongst the crowd. Zhou Yun looked at the elder of the alchemy pavilion through the crowd and felt a little helpless. He had been in the sect for a few years. He wasn't very familiar with the elders in the sect, but he had encountered them a few times and understood their habits. This elder's name was Yao Chen. He was the elder in charge of the alchemy pavilion. Usually, his favorite activity was refining pills. He did not appear in public often. They must have caused quite a commotion and disturbed his peace. Hence, he came out to take a look. "What's going on? What are you all doing here?" Yao Chen's tone was stern, and he was annoyed. Usually, as long as nothing major happened in the alchemy pavilion, he would not intervene. However, he had just thought of a new idea for alchemy. Just as he was about to record it down, he was interrupted by the noise outside. When everyone finally calmed down and he attempted to record his inspiration again, he realized that he had lost his train of thought. He had missed the opportunity to record down his epiphany. How could he not be furious? If they couldn't give him a reasonable explanation for their rowdiness, he would definitely punish them. Yao Chen looked at the crowd that had gathered. The anger in his heart could not be quelled. He snorted coldly and unleashed the might from his body. In an instant, everyone in the pavilion felt breathless. One of the cultivators said, "Medicine Elder, we gathered here for a reason. Zhou Yun lied to us. He said that he had refined perfect grade pills." Another person chipped in, saying, "That's right. We also heard that he had refined perfect grade pills, so we gathered here." Yeah. Everyone was eager to justify their presence here, and they directly pointed fingers at Zhou Yun. Medicine Elder followed everyone's gaze and looked at Zhou Yun. Perfect grade pills. Why didn't he just say that he had broken through to the golden core stage from the qi cultivation stage? Why did he like to brag so much at such a young age? Yao Chen looked at Zhou Yun in a bad mood and was about to burst out in anger. At this moment, a crisp voice interrupted him. "No way." The person who spoke was Qiaoer. She was hugging Zhou Yun's arm in a defensive posture. She did so because everyone was so angry just now and seemed to want to attack Zhou Yun. Brother Zhou Yun has indeed refined perfect-grade pills. When Yao Chen heard Xiao'er's words, he shook his head without even thinking. A perfect-grade pill did not have any impurities and its medicinal effects were perfect, even after 1,000 years. Such a perfect pill was something that even he, who had been refining pills for decades, could only dream of. How could an ordinary disciple of the Spirit Valley manage to refine one? Yao Chen assumed that Xiao'er had made a mistake. Although Xiao'er had been the most talented disciple in the sect for the past 3 years and her words were somewhat credible, when it came to alchemy, Yao Chen assumed that she had made a mistake or had been deceived. Perfect-grade pills were completely different from pills of other grades. They were incomparable. If you don't believe me, come and see for yourself. I'm not lying to you. Brother Zhou Yun has actually managed to refine some. As Xiao'er spoke, she lifted Zhou Yun's arm and forced his hand open. Yao Chen smiled when he heard Xiao'er's words. He was ready to step forward and teach Xiao'er about alchemy. Just as he was about to speak, his eyes caught the brilliance in Zhou Yun's hand and he was instantly stunned. The 12 pills in Zhou Yun's hands were currently emitting a faint glow. These pills were all round, and no matter which angle one looked at them from, they were completely flawless. These are perfect-grade pills. Yao Chen stumbled 3 times before completing his sentence. He appeared in front of Zhou Yun in a flash. Snatching a pill from Zhou Yun's hand, he began to examine it carefully. Yao Chen stared at the pill and did not dare to move. He even held his breath. After a long time, he gradually regained his senses. At this moment, he had already confirmed that this was really a perfect-grade pill. Zhou Yun had 12 of them. Where did you get these pills? Yao Chen asked as he raised his head and stared at Zhou Yun. Chapter 14. It's really the sect leader. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 14. It's really the sect leader. Where did these pills come from? Interrogated Yao Chen in a stern tone as he stared at Zhou Yun. Zhou Yun helplessly sighed. Of course, he was the one who refined the pills. Who else could it be? Did the sect have an alchemist who could refine perfect-grade pills? He had clearly said countless times that he was the one who had refined the pills. Why did no one believe him? Medicine Elder, I was the one who refined the pills. Helpless, Zhou Yun could only repeat himself. However, just as he finished speaking, Yao Chen immediately started cursing. *T, why don't you claim that you are my father while you are at it? Alchemy isn't the same as cultivation. Success doesn't come overnight. How could you have made these perfect pills? If you can master alchemy just like that, I'll change my surname to yours. Since when was alchemy so simple? If any random outer sect disciple could succeed in refining pills, even perfect-grade pills, on their first try, then wouldn't Yao Chen have lived his life in vain for the past few decades? Yao Chen's curses reverberated throughout the entire alchemy pavilion. The spittle from his mouth sprayed everywhere. Zhou Yun quickly took half a step back to avoid being drenched. In truth, Yao Chen's rage was justified. Anyone would find this inconceivable. This was the first time that Zhou Yun, a puny outer sect disciple, had attempted alchemy. Given that he didn't know anything, he had actually succeeded. Furthermore, he had refined perfect-grade pills. Who would believe such a contrivance? Su Wani was shocked when she heard their conversation. She never thought that the pills in Zhou Yun's hands would actually be of the perfect grade. She did not dare to confirm it at first. However, as an elder of the alchemy pavilion, Medicine Elder had personally admitted that this was true. Right now, she already believed that these pills were refined by Zhou Yun. After all, she and Xiao'er had witnessed Zhou Yun enter the room. She looked at the furious Medicine Elder and was worried that things would take a turn for the worse. She couldn't help but worry about Zhou Yun. After thinking for a while, she left the pavilion and headed to the mountain where the sect leader was. In the alchemy pavilion, Zhou Yun looked at the furious Yao Chen and took another step back. I can't possibly have a son as old as you, Zhou Yun grumbled in his heart. He didn't dare to say this out loud. Otherwise, he would probably be killed with a single slap. As an elder of the alchemy pavilion, Yao Chen usually focused all his time and energy on refining pills and did not care much about cultivation. However, alchemy required frequent trial and error, and each pill he consumed during his experiments was filled with huge amounts of spiritual energy. The accumulation of spiritual energy from the pills had allowed him to break through to an unfathomable level. In short, if he wanted to slap Zhou Yun to death, it would probably be as easy as killing an insect. Medicine Elder, these pills are indeed concocted by me. The people here can bear witness to it. Zhou Yun reminded him again. Do you think alchemy is like cooking and you can succeed by just adding a little salt? Kid, there is no element of luck in alchemy at all. The complexity involved is something you can't imagine. Yao Chen foamed with rage and glared at him. He almost attacked Zhou Yun. He felt that his profession had been insulted. I know it's complicated, but I really did make it. Just as Zhou Yun finished speaking, he felt the world suddenly turn upside down. He was shocked to find that Yao Chen had lifted him up. You must have found these pills in some corner of our sect. We shall find out which master refined them. As Yao Chen spoke, one of his hands fumbled around Zhou Yun's body while his other hand began to shake the latter violently. Zhou Yun could only desperately hold on to his pants to prevent them from falling. There were already many people gathered around them. If his pants were to fall down at this moment, it would be a huge embarrassment. An interesting scene played out in the pavilion. Yao Chen shook Zhou Yun with all his might, while Zhou Yun desperately held on to his pants. Everyone present was dumbfounded by this scene. They had never witnessed such a scene in the alchemy pavilion. After all, when they came here to refine pills, they would rarely encounter the elders of the pavilion. Therefore, they had always imagined the elders to be high and mighty, especially since the latter rarely spoke or smiled. The elders were always serious and strict, although some of them might have more eccentric personalities. However, Medicine Elder was now acting like an old man in the mortal world who had something of his stolen. He had been cursing all this while, but it was not enough to quench his rage now. He started to get physical. This contrast stunned everyone. The onlookers were ready to step forward to stop them. After all, the two of them had caused too much of a commotion. Other elders might come over later, which would further escalate things. Just as the crowd stepped forward, a mite suddenly descended from the sky, directly enveloping the entire alchemy pavilion. This might was even stronger than that emanating from Yao Chen. It was so strong that everyone's bones were creaking and they almost fell to their knees. Yao Chen, what's going on? A voice came from afar as an old man appeared. This voice, it can't be. Only the Golden Core Stage sect leader would have this kind of might, right? Stop guessing. It's indeed the sect leader. A cultivator asked, what's going on? Why have these two big shots, who rarely appear in public, suddenly shown up here today? His friend replied, you were too focused on the beauties just now. You missed the main event. What were you focusing on then? Of course, I was looking at the pills. What color are the pills? White. TSK. Why is the sect leader here? Another cultivator interrupted their conversation, saying, cut that out. Lower your voice. Hushed conversations could be heard everywhere. The old man was floating in the air. With his white hair and a white beard, he looked like a sage. This old man was the current sect leader of Spirit Valley, Ling Qingyun. After Ling Qingyun arrived, the entire place immediately calmed down. Everyone stopped what they were doing and raised their heads to look at him. Only Yao Chen was still busy carrying Zhou Yun. Zhou Yun quickly greeted the sect leader when he saw him. Greetings, sect leader. Hee, kid, you're still trying this trick on me. I stopped playing these little tricks hundreds of years ago. Now, let alone the sect leader, even if my father comes, I won't let go of you. Yao Chen laughed in disdain, thinking that Zhou Yun was playing a trick on him. The sect leader wouldn't come over to the alchemy pavilion for no reason. This kid actually used the sect leader to try to scare him. He was brazen. Ling Qingyun's face darkened when he heard Yao Chen's words. With a wave of his sleeve, he separated the two of them. After the two of them were pulled apart, Yao Chen finally saw Ling Qingyun, and his eyes widened in disbelief. It's really the sect leader. Ling Qingyun carefully observed Zhou Yun. Su Wani had already told him the whole story. He was also a little shocked. Could such an outer sect disciple actually refine perfect-grade pills? However, he still trusted Su Wani, the eldest senior sister of the inner sect. That's why he came over to take a look. Ling Qingyun stared at Zhou Yun until the latter felt goosebumps all over his body. Only then did Ling Qingyun say, "Won't we know the truth if he manages to refine some more pills?" Chapter 15. Alchemy Pavilion. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. In Alchemy Pavilion of Spirit Valley, Ling Qingyun led the group to a separate alchemy room. The door of this alchemy room looked much bigger than the one that Zhou Yun had rented. On the right side of the door, there was a wooden sign with the words Alchemy Room Number 1 written on it. Zhou Yun looked at the wooden sign and suddenly recalled something he noticed when he was renting the alchemy room. The numbering of the alchemy rooms had started from Alchemy Room Number 2. At that time, he had been wondering why there was no Alchemy Room Number 1. He didn't expect it to be here. Now it seemed that this room was special. Zhou Yun, do you know the origin of this alchemy room? Ling Qingyun did not look at Zhou Yun. Instead, his eyes were fixed on the alchemy room, and there was some pain in his eyes. Zhou Yun shook his head, indicating that he did not know. There was a lot of dust on the door of the room. It seemed that it had not been used for a long time. He had only been here for a few years and did not know what had happened. The people behind him also exchanged confused looks. Ling Qingyun's gaze swept across the crowd, and he spoke softly, all of this happened around 1,000 years ago. Well, at that time, our Spirit Valley was quite powerful. We even had a lot of golden core stage cultivators. As Ling Qingyun spoke of this, his eyes were filled with confidence, and even pride. He continued, however, one day, for some reason, the spiritual qi of heaven and earth began to decrease gradually. The concentration of spiritual qi in the entire immortal cultivation world began to decline. At that time, all the major forces in the immortal cultivation world panicked because this situation was irreversible. The spiritual qi was becoming thinner and thinner, and our ancestors were afraid that after 1,000 years, the spiritual qi of heaven and earth would be exhausted. In order to deal with this matter, the elders of Spirit Valley decided to try to refine the nascent breaking pills after some discussion. At that time, we gathered the most powerful alchemists in our sect here. We had dozens of golden core stage experts to guard us. Then, we spent nearly 90% of the cultivation resources of the sect to refine the pills. Alas, we still failed in the end. That's why Spirit Valley has fallen to such a state today. After Ling Qingyun finished speaking, he stared intently at the alchemy room and was lost in his thoughts for a long time. When Zhou Yun heard this story, he was shocked. After experiencing such a disaster and consuming 90% of the sect's resources, the sect was able to survive until now with only 10% of its former resources. Moreover, they were still ranked among the major forces. From this, one could see how powerful Spirit Valley was during its heyday. From Ling Qingyun's story and the look in his eyes, Zhou Yun speculated that Spirit Valley was one of the most powerful forces in the cultivation world in the past. Even such a powerful sect was not immune to the effects of this disaster brought about by the decline of spiritual qi. Dozens of Golden Core stage experts were involved in the making of the nascent breaking pills. What a sight that must have been! What a grand endeavor this was! The crowd that followed behind Zhou Yun was also stunned by the sect leader's words. Their mouths were wide open and even their breathing hastened. After a long time, Ling Qingyun came back to his senses. He took a deep breath and slowly pushed open the door to the alchemy room. Creak. As soon as the door opened, the powerful spiritual qi inside the room gushed out like a gale. Zhou Yun and the others hurriedly circulated their cultivation techniques to resist the spiritual qi. However, in the blink of an eye, they had exhausted the spiritual qi in their bodies. They felt that they were unable to resist the powerful wind. Just as the full force of the gale was about to strike them, Ling Qingyun waved his sleeve, and the violent wind instantly stopped. Zhou Yun and the others heaved a sigh of relief. If it wasn't for the sect leader's intervention, this spiritual qi alone would have been enough to kill more than half of the people present. Zhou Yun exhaled and shifted his gaze to the alchemy room. He was instantly stunned by the scene inside. Damn, this room is huge. This room was called an alchemy room, but its area was even bigger than 2 football fields combined. The others gasped when they saw the inside of the alchemy room. BL.net Everyone followed Ling Qingyun into the room. The moment they entered, a wave of heat hit them in the face. The entire room was filled with a faint red mist, which seemed to come from the burning earth fire. As they walked further in, Zhou Yun felt that it was getting hotter and hotter. The moisture in the air seemed to have evaporated, making it difficult for him to breathe. He walked all the way to the center of the alchemy room, where a huge cauldron was placed. It was big enough to fit an elephant. At this moment, Ling Qingyun spoke again. Zhou Yun, the stage has been prepared for you. We're eager to see what you have got. We will know the truth once you have shown your hand. If you can refine a perfect grade pill this time, I promise you that I will make an exception and promote you to a glory disciple of the sect. The sect leader's words caused the crowd to gasp. The glory disciple was a title laden with heavy responsibilities. A glory disciple was on the same level as the elders in the sect. It was a level higher than even the inner sect disciples. Even the sect leader needed to consult the opinion of glory disciples at certain times. Those who could obtain this title were usually disciples who had made great contributions to the sect. For example, when the sect encountered a great disaster, those who stepped forward to solve the problem might be awarded with this title. Most of the people who obtained this title had already sacrificed themselves for the sect. Zhou Yun spotted the hidden meaning behind the sect leader's words. Why did the sect leader recount the tales of the past when they arrived here? Why did the sect leader bring him here? Zhou Yun had a feeling that the sect leader also believed that he could concoct perfect grade pills. The sect leader spoke again, if you fail to make anything or refine anything less than a perfect grade pill, you will be demoted to the rank of a servant in the sect for the rest of your life. Do you accept these terms? The crowd immediately broke into discussion. This was a huge gamble. If Zhou Yun succeeded, he would become a glory disciple of the sect and enjoy the same treatment as an elder. If he failed, he would be demoted to a servant of the sect, worse than an outer sect disciple. The sect would not provide any cultivation resources, and he would have to be a servant for the rest of his life. They put themselves in his shoes. After some careful thought, all of them realized that they did not dare to participate in such a gamble. The stakes were too high. They were betting on their futures. Faced with this challenge, Zhou Yun was very calm. He replied, "Of course I agree." His reply silenced the crowd. Everyone was once again petrified. This was such a huge gamble, and he agreed to it without hesitation. He wouldn't really succeed, would he? If Zhou Yun really managed to refine a perfect grade pill, then he would have indeed made a huge contribution to the sect and would be worthy of the title of glory disciple. Now, the question was whether he was capable of refining such pills. If he couldn't deliver, he would have to be a servant for life. Zhou Yun. Concocting perfect-grade pills. How is that possible? Many people in the crowd had looks of disdain on their faces. They refused to believe that Zhou Yun could do so. Chapter 16. The little girl set me up. You are listening at novelfull.audio. While the audience was still discussing, the sect leader had already arranged for the resources for refining the pills to be prepared. Soon after, Zhou Yun walked closer to the alchemy furnace and began the process. Zhou Yun muttered in his heart, activating enlightenment. A faint blue light flashed in the depths of his eyes. His mind immediately cleared up. The extremely mysterious feeling he had experienced before instantly resurfaced. Zhou Yun began to make preparations according to the steps that emerged in his mind. Alchemy did not only require the preparation of medicinal ingredients. The state of the mind and body of an alchemist was also very important. If an alchemist didn't adjust their condition before refining pills, then there was a high probability of them failing. Just then, an old man with a ruddy face appeared beside Ling Qingyun. No one noticed this. Sect leader, greeted the old man. Sir Pill. Ling Qingyun nodded his head slightly when he saw the old man. This old man was the Grand Elder of Spirit Valley. He was called Sir Pill because he was extremely obsessed with alchemy. Sect leader, where did you get this pill? When Sir Pill arrived, he didn't waste any time. He opened his palm, revealing a perfect-grade pill. Yao Chen had given him this pill just now. When he saw the pill, he was speechless from his shock. A perfect-grade medicinal pill was something that he had not seen in a long time. He was the only Grand Elder in the sect who could refine pills just below the golden core stage. He had hundreds of years of experience in alchemy. His trained eye was naturally not something that Yao Chen could compare to. The moment he got his hands on the pill, he could immediately tell that it was a newly refined pill. Therefore, when he heard that Ling Qingyun was going to open alchemy room number 1, he immediately rushed over. He was eager to see who had refined this perfect grade pill. Upon hearing Sir Pill's words, Ling Qingyun smiled and raised his head, gesturing in Zhou Yun's direction. This pill was made by the young man beside the alchemy furnace. Sir Pill followed Ling Qingyun's gaze and was instantly stunned. This young man. How could he have? Before Sir Pill could finish his question, Ling Qingyun interrupted, I know you don't believe my claim. I have some doubts as well, so I asked him to make another batch again. Just some doubts. Sir Pill's face was full of confusion. He couldn't believe that a young man could actually concoct a pill like this. Our sect has been in decline for nearly 1,000 years. Is it strange for a genius to emerge now, said Ling Qingyun as he revealed a faint smile. He did not know why, but there was a voice in his heart telling him that this young man could lead the sect to greater heights. The sect might even surpass its previous state with Zhou Yun's presence. With Ling Qingyun's persuasion, Sir Pill began to re-evaluate Zhou Yun. Sir Pill lamented, I never imagined that the perfect-grade pills that I couldn't refine for hundreds of years would be successfully refined so easily by this young lad. The younger generation had truly surpassed the older generation. He was really a genius. Sir Pill looked at Zhou Yun, who was standing next to the alchemy furnace, and sighed. He is still so young. His potential is limitless. I really hope that our sect can have more geniuses like him. Our sect's future will depend on these young people. With these young people, our sect will be restored to its former glory sooner or later. Sir Pill's eyes were filled with pride when he talked about the past. Oh right. How long has this fellow been learning alchemy? When he thought of how Zhou Yun had managed to concoct a perfect-grade pill at such a young age, Sir Pill couldn't suppress the excitement in his heart. He couldn't help but want to ask about Zhou Yun. When Ling Qingyun heard this, he casually lifted a single finger. A year. What a genius. No, he is crazily talented. Sir Pill had made up his mind. Once Zhou Yun was done here, he would drag him to his own alchemy room and pass down everything he had learnt to Zhou Yun. Not a year, said Ling Qingyun as he smiled and shook his head. 100 years. It doesn't seem like it. He looks very young. Ling Qingyun responded, a day. No, to be precise, it hasn't even been a day. This Zhou Yun only started learning alchemy today, and he managed to refine a perfect grade pill on his first try. As soon as Sir Pill heard these words, he was dumbfounded and stood rooted to the ground. At this moment, his mind was completely blank. He could not handle the shock. The phrase, one day, was like a curse that kept ringing in his ears. No one could understand how bewildered he was. In his opinion, there were only two possibilities regarding Zhou Yun being able to refine perfect pills. Either it was absolutely impossible, or Zhou Yun was a rare genius that only appeared once in 10,000 years, or even a 100,000 years. There were no words to describe such a genius. Meanwhile, Zhou Yun also completed his preparation work. The alchemy room was steaming hot and he was the closest to the alchemy furnace. Hence, his body was covered in sweat. His clothes were drenched. Everyone turned their attention to Zhou Yun. Is he finally going to start? Sir Pill rubbed his hands together eagerly, as though he was the one refining the pills. If the sect leader had not stopped him, he would have approached Zhou Yun to exchange pointers with the latter. Just then, Zhou Yun moved. He stretched out his hand. He picked up 30% of the medicinal herbs that the sect had prepared for him and threw them directly into the alchemy furnace. His actions were simple and crude. It was as though he was just frying vegetables. Everyone present, regardless of whether they understood alchemy or not, was stunned when they saw this scene. No one had ever seen someone refine pills in such a manner. Even the disciples who had never practiced alchemy before shook their heads when they saw this. Zhou Yun did not look like he was refining pills. Hushed whispers could be heard among the crowd again. Huh, I've waited for so long, and this is it. Is this alchemy? Why do I feel like I'm watching someone cook? You're not mistaken. He is cooking. If I'm not wrong, Zhou Yun has prepared salt as well. What the hell is this? This is a waste of resources. Stop him. Didn't I say that Zhou Yun was incompetent? It seems like he's destined to be an errand boy for the rest of his life. The sect leader Ling Qingyun, who had been calm and collected all this while, was also dumbfounded. He had been leaning back leisurely. Now, he stood up and leaned forward. He looked at Zhou Yun in a daze as the latter refined pills as though he was frying vegetables. The sect leader's face immediately darkened. Su Wani, you little girl, you set me up. On the surface, Ling Qingyun was still calm and collected, but in his heart, he was already cursing Su Wani. He glanced discreetly at Sir Pill, not daring to say a word. Sir Pill had just recovered from his daze. Looking at Zhou Yun, who was still busy refining pills, he revealed a long face. What nonsense is this? Chapter 17. Alchemy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The crowd watched as Zhou Yun threw ingredients into the alchemy furnace like he was cooking. It did not look like he was refining pills. His presentation greatly disappointed everyone. Everyone thought that he had already given up trying. The Grand Elder also snorted coldly. Only then did the people present realize that the Grand Elder had arrived unnoticed at the alchemy room. Even the Grand Elder is here. Even the sect's Grand Elder, who hasn't shown himself in public for several years, has come. It seems that Zhou Yun has drawn himself quite a crowd. Could it be that the Grand Elder is also here to see Zhou Yun? It should be so. However, Sir Pill's expression doesn't look too good. Everyone quickly shifted their gazes to the Grand Elder and saw a trace of displeasure on his face. Everyone revealed an expression of understanding when they saw the Grand Elder's expression and Zhou Yun's performance. Qin Xiu heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Zhou Yun's performance. A sneer immediately appeared on his face. Zhou Yun's confident expression had almost fooled him into believing that the former could really pull it off. Now, it seemed as though Zhou Yun had given up and didn't plan to refine pills at all. Someone commented, "How could Sir Pill be in a good mood after meeting someone like Zhou Yun? It's one thing for Zhou Yun to not know how to refine pills, but he's also wasting the ingredients." That's right. Zhou Yun was a good for nothing to begin with, so he probably feels that he has no future in this life. He wanted to do something out of line to make everyone remember him. It's too late now. Zhou Yun's technique is completely wrong. How can he refine pills in such a manner? Sigh. It's fine if he's a piece of trash, but he's also troubling the sect leader and Sir Pill. He is such a disgrace to the outer sect. Everyone, let's stay away from him. From the looks of it, his alchemy furnace might explode. Everyone, step back. When he heard the words of the crowd, Ling Qingyun felt a little uneasy. He was still present, yet the disciples were mocking Zhou Yun in front of his face. Indirectly, they were disrespecting his decision to give Zhou Yun a chance to prove himself. Shouldn't they wait until he had finished before talking about it? Ling Qingyun was ready to stand up and reprimand the crowd. Just as he was about to do so, he saw the Grand Elder staring at him unblinkingly, a look of displeasure on his face. The sect leader's anger was immediately extinguished, and he smiled at the Grand Elder sheepishly. Then, he shifted his gaze to Su Wani and glared at her. Feeling the sect leader's gaze, Su Wani was confused. She thought, why is the sect master glaring at me? I just got here. After she went to call the sect leader, the latter immediately flew away. She hurriedly followed behind, but unfortunately, the sect leader was too fast. In the blink of an eye, she had lost sight of him. When she arrived at the alchemy pavilion, she realized that there were only a few people left in the originally crowded alchemy room. After many inquiries, she found out that the sect leader had brought everyone to alchemy room number 1. When Su Wani approached the crowd, she found out from everyone that Zhou Yun did not know how to refine pills. Eldest senior sister, Zhou Yun actually doesn't know anything about alchemy. Look at his technique. Does it look like he's refining pills? That's right, Zhou Yun is a complete piece of trash. He was not caught in the past, but now, in front of everyone, he can't pretend anymore and will be exposed. Su Wani's heart gradually sank as she listened to their statements. She never imagined that a person she thought so highly of would refine pills in this manner. The sect leader trusted her so much that he directly brought the person she recommended to alchemy room number 1. It turned out that Zhou Yun might know how to refine pills. Su Wani's face also revealed a trace of anger. Right then, Qin Xiu no longer held back and directly mocked Zhou Yun loudly. Zhou Yun, you piece of trash, don't waste medicinal ingredients if you can't refine pills. Don't you know how hard it is to obtain them nowadays? You're still trying to show off in this situation. You're wasting everyone's time. From the looks of it, Zhou Yun would not be able to make a comeback no matter what he did. Qin Xiu was extremely excited when he thought of this. He kept mocking Zhou Yun. When Xiao heard Qin Xiu's sarcasm, she was furious. She took out her sword and pointed it at Qin Xiu. Qin Xiu was about to continue mocking excitedly when a sword suddenly appeared in front of him. The sword looked very small and delicate, like a child's toy, but it contained a huge amount of spiritual qi. Qin Xiu couldn't help but shiver when he sensed the qi. He would not be able to block this sword if it attacked him. If you dare to insult Brother Zhou Yun again, I will kill you. Xiao's angry voice reached Qin Xiu's ears. Qin Xiu's back broke out in a cold sweat. From Xiao's tone, he was convinced of her conviction to do so. When the crowd saw this, they quickly stepped back to avoid getting involved. The fight between two inner sect disciples was not something that outer sect disciples like them could meddle in. Just the aftershock from the inner sect disciples' attacks was enough to injure them. Su Wani intervened, saying, "All right, that's enough. Let's wait until Zhou Yun finishes first. We'll only know the result at the end, right?" When everyone heard her gentle voice, they felt as though a spring breeze had swept over them. Under Su Wani's persuasion, Xiao slowly lowered her sword. After giving Qin Xiu a glare, she turned her eyes to Zhou Yun. No matter what the others thought, she would always believe in brother Zhou Yun. After Qin Xiu narrowly escaped death, his dissatisfaction with Zhou Yun grew even stronger. He even developed a grudge against the latter. He cursed internally, "Zhou Yun. You're such a good for nothing. Why are you always on junior sister Qiao's good side? What did Zhou Yun do? Why did junior sister Qiao trust him so much? He was a complete piece of trash." Qin Xiu wondered in what way he was inferior to the former. He couldn't accept this. After the brief interlude between the two inner disciples, everyone once again turned their attention to Zhou Yun. Most people still didn't have high hopes in him. Some people had already stopped watching and sat down to rest with their eyes closed. It was obvious that they didn't have any hope for him. Aside from these people, there were also a few seasoned alchemists who were staring at Zhou Yun. They had all noticed the same thing. Why was Zhou Yun still able to continue? Logically speaking, with his technique, he should have failed long ago. At the very least, the herbs would turn into ashes and the fire in the alchemy furnace would be extinguished. In the worst-case scenario, the alchemy furnace would explode. Regardless, the process should have ceased by now. Why was Zhou Yun still able to continue refining pills? The Grand Elder was also staring at Zhou Yun right now. He obviously had also noticed this abnormality. The success of alchemy depended on two factors: the heat control of the furnace and the proportion of herbs used. The norm was to first determine the proportion of herbs to be used and then put in effort on the heat control to ensure the successful refining of the pills. However, Zhou Yun's method had not resulted in failure yet. Out of curiosity, he calmed down and waited for the end result. Finally, under everyone's gaze, a burst of fire surged out of the alchemy furnace. Whoosh! A series of muffled sounds and scorching heat waves were constantly emitted from the alchemy furnace. Everyone revealed looks of excitement and astonishment when they saw this. The pills were about to be refined. Chapter 18. He was actually about to succeed. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. As steam rose from the alchemy furnace, everyone's attention was drawn towards it. Their faces were filled with shock and disbelief. Zhou Yun was actually about to succeed. They did not expect that his crude alchemy technique could actually refine pills. Everyone was very puzzled. The Grand Elder was also confused, but he did not think too much about it. Perhaps this was the way to successfully refine a perfect-grade pill. Perhaps his careful methods had all been for naught. He shook his head and focused his attention back on the alchemy furnace. Other pills would usually emit some medicinal fragrance. This was the wasted medicinal power of the pills. Due to the emitted fragrance, the medicinal strength of the pills would often deteriorate greatly after a period of time. On the other hand, the method of producing perfect-grade pills was completely different from that of other pills. The effects of the two were also as different as heaven and earth. Due to the nature of perfect-grade pills, the medicinal power was completely sealed in. Therefore, there was no smell of medicine at all. There were usually several ways to distinguish a perfect-grade pill. The first way was to smell it. The second was to see its color and shape. The third was to taste its medicinal properties. A pill could be considered perfect if it did not have any medicinal fragrance, had a bright color and was without blemishes. With a burst of steam, the fire under the alchemy furnace gradually extinguished. Zhou Yun stepped forward and opened the lid of the furnace. The moment he opened it, another red mist was released. It was hot and Zhou Yun had no choice but to retreat. The figure of an old man flickered and appeared in front of him, blocking the heat wave. The former reached out and took out the pills from the furnace. When Zhou Yun saw this scene, he was slightly shocked. The heat wave that was emitted from the furnace was something that he could not withstand. If he were to put his hand into the furnace, his entire arm would probably melt in the process. However, the Grand Elder directly reached in and took out the pills. The heat didn't seem to affect him at all. The Grand Elder was the first to rush up, followed by the sect leader of Spirit Valley, Ling Qingyun. There was an inquisitive look in his eyes. I clearly wanted to ask if the pills were perfect. The crowd also slowly approached the alchemy furnace. The elder on the stage stared at the pills in his hand and his voice trembled slightly as he said, "There's no leakage of medicinal power at all. Their color is perfect, and they are flawless. They are indeed perfect. Grade pills. Hearing the Grand Elder's words, everyone present was petrified once again. Although they had already mentally prepared themselves, they still could not suppress the shock in their hearts when they heard the Grand Elder confirm that Zhou Yun had refined perfect. Grade pills. When they thought about it, the previous 12 perfect. Grade pills were also concocted by Zhou Yun. Not only did Zhou Yun succeed in refining perfect. Grade pills, he even managed to do so consecutively. Those who had experience in alchemy all looked at Zhou Yun with admiration. Only they knew how difficult it was to succeed twice in a row. Even if they were refining ordinary pills, they could not guarantee success every time. Usually, an alchemist needed to rest for a few days after refining once. They would only continue after readjusting their mental state. However, Zhou Yun managed to successfully concoct pills twice in a day. Moreover, he produced 2 batches of perfect. Grade pills. If this scene had not occurred before them and they had not witnessed the entire process with their own eyes, they would not have believed it. Well done, boy. Sir Pill applauded. He couldn't contain his excitement and smacked Zhou Yun on the shoulder. Smack. Zhou Yun immediately heard the sound of his arm being dislocated. He cursed internally, "It's okay to be excited. But why did you smack me? Don't you know your own strength?" After he finished complaining, he silently grabbed his arm and pushed it back into its socket. Sir Pill was so ecstatic that he couldn't even speak coherently. How could he not be thrilled when a once-in.10,000 years genius appeared in the sect? A genius who could refine perfect. Grade pills was a monster. In the entire immortal cultivation world, such geniuses were very rare. Perhaps the sect could use Zhou Yun to escape their current predicament and reach a higher level. Furthermore, he could also exchange pointers with Zhou Yun. If it wasn't for the fact that he needed to keep up appearances in front of everyone, he would have already pulled Zhou Yun away. With Zhou Yun by his side, he would not feel bored even if he did not go out for 100 years. In all honesty, refining pills was never boring. It was so much fun. Sir Pill was so certain that Zhou Yun shared the same sentiment. He had no doubts about this. His eyes glowed as he looked at Zhou Yun with a feverish expression. Zhou Yun looked into Sir Pill's eyes and felt a shiver down his spine. At this moment, everyone had gathered around. Their eyes filled with extreme excitement. Even some of the junior sisters' eyes were filled with amazement. They kept throwing flirtatious looks at Zhou Yun, trying to attract his attention. With an ongoing resource shortage, having an alchemist as a boyfriend was advantageous. Moreover, Zhou Yun was an alchemist who could refine perfect. Grade pills. A girl with such a boyfriend would be very popular no matter where she went. When the ladies thought of this, they quickly went up to Zhou Yun, hoping that he would notice them. In an instant, Zhou Yun was surrounded by different fragrances. "Brother Zhou Yun, you're really amazing. They didn't believe you just now. Only I have always believed in you." A crisp voice rang out, and Zhou Yun felt a weight on his shoulder. Then, he felt a soft and smooth sensation from his arm. It brought with it waves of fragrance. He lowered his head and saw Qiao hanging onto him like a koala bear. Yes, I've always believed in Qiao too. Zhou Yun was afraid that Qiao would lose her balance, so he reached out and held her slender waist. Her waist was so thin that Zhou Yun could wrap his entire arm around her. Feeling Zhou Yun's movements, Qiao slowly blushed all the way down to her neck. Qin Xiu's eyes widened unconsciously when he saw this scene. He glared at Zhou Yun and gritted his teeth so hard that his gums bled. He no longer cared if Zhou Yun had managed to refine perfect-grade pills. He just couldn't figure out why Qiao liked Zhou Yun so much. Why had Qiao put her trust in Zhou Yun from the very beginning? Seeing the person he liked in someone else's arms, Qin Xiu felt very indignant. He only wanted to duel Zhou Yun to the death. Su Wani looked at Zhou Yun, who was surrounded by people, and began to question her life. After listening to what her junior brothers had told her, she had believed that Zhou Yun would fail. However, to her surprise, Zhou Yun actually refined some perfect-grade pills with such a crude method. After pondering for a moment, she sighed softly. She concluded, it seems like Zhou Yun can't be judged by common sense. Chapter 19. Make other elixir pills. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ahem. Ahem, the sect leader looked at Zhou Yun, who was surrounded by a group of senior and junior sisters with Qiao in his arms. He couldn't help but cough twice to remind the crowd. After hearing the sect leader's cough, all the senior and junior sisters came to their senses and quickly dispersed. After they dispersed, the sect leader found that their faces were slightly red. Apparently, they were ashamed of what they did just now. However, they did not regret it. If they could attract Zhou Yun's attention today, it would not matter even if they were embarrassed. After all, Zhou Yun had a great talent for alchemy. He definitely had a promising future. Moreover, his appearance also made all the senior and junior sisters fascinated. It seemed like they would benefit a lot if they managed to get close to Zhou Yun. In terms of either his talent or his appearance and temperament, Zhou Yun was definitely one of a kind. If they failed to seize such a good chance, it would slip forever. As the group of senior and junior sisters thought of this, they kept flicking flirtatious glances at Zhou Yun. Zhou Yun felt everyone's attention on him. It was as if he had returned to the time when he was an outer sect disciple. At that time, there were many junior sisters among the students who found various excuses to get close to him. At this moment, Qiao also came down from Zhou Yun's back. Her little face was even redder than those of other senior sisters. After a while, her face regained its calm. She stared unblinkingly at the sect leader and completely ignored Zhou Yun as if she was not the one who hugged Zhou Yun excitedly just now. After Zhou Yun and the others all gathered on the stage, the sect leader finally spoke. I hereby announce that Zhou Yun has been officially promoted to a glory disciple of Spirit Valley. His status shall be equal to that of an elder in the sect. The announcement caused uproar in the crowd. An hour ago, no one present expected Zhou Yun to be able to refine perfect-tier pills and become a glory disciple of the sect. No one had expected that by using his dramatic alchemy technique, Zhou Yun would actually succeed. BVEC, and now, he had used his talent for alchemy to conquer everyone present and become the glory disciple that everyone dreamed to be. Glory disciples were the highest-ranking disciples in the sect. Their status was even higher than that of the inner sect disciples and was equal to that of the elders of the sect. Glory disciple. It'll be great if I can get promoted. That's impossible. It's not easy to be a glory disciple. Yeah, unless you can refine a perfect-tier pill like Zhou Yun. Or, you'd better stop dreaming right now. A person in the crowd let out an envious sigh and was instantly scorned by the crowd. As was known to all, one had to make extraordinary contributions to the sect or be an unparalleled genius. Otherwise, it was impossible for him or her to become a glory disciple. A glory disciple's status was even higher than that of the inner sect disciples. Everyone, including the inner sect disciples, had to address Zhou Yun as their senior brother when meeting him. As for the treatment, it was even better. It was definitely something that an inner sect disciple could never get. Besides, Zhou Yun had a great talent for alchemy. He wouldn't lack any of the pills he needed in daily life. In fact, he might not even be able to use them up even if he wanted to. Everyone present looked at Zhou Yun, who was in the middle of the crowd, envy and admiration filling their hearts. At this moment, Zhou Yun quietly walked up to Ling Qingyun. "Sect leader, can I continue to refine pills?" Although Zhou Yun's voice was soft, everybody heard what he said due to their excellent hearing. "Zhou Yun still wants to refine pills?" Someone in the crowd immediately exclaimed. Everyone got dumbfounded again. "You still need to refine pills? Do you have an endless supply of energy? We can't even handle refining pills once a day, yet Zhou Yun still has the energy to refine pills twice a day." The disciples who had some experience in alchemy looked at each other and saw the deep shock in their eyes. At this moment, Ling Qingyun had also come back to his senses. He was a little surprised by Zhou Yun's words. "You've already proven yourself. There's no need to continue," Ling Qingyun said with a faint smile. The surprise that Zhou Yun had given him today was already big enough. "No, since I'm going to show it, I have to go through with the whole pill. Refining. Everyone has been delayed for so long because of me. I really feel sorry about it." A trace of guilt appeared on Zhou Yun's face. Hearing Zhou Yun's words, everyone was confused. They had no idea what Zhou Yun was trying to do. He wants to show off, they wondered. That's not necessary at all. After all, Zhou Yun had already made an exception to become a glory disciple. There was no need to show off. Even if Zhou Yun did something even more shocking than this today, there was no way that he would get promoted to sect leader. No one could understand Zhou Yun's actions, but Ling Qingyun could read his mind. He could not help but smile bitterly in his heart. Zhou Yun was not at all trying to prove himself. He was clearly trying to benefit from refining pills. After all, Ling Qingyun had said that all the medicinal herbs would be provided by the sect. Zhou Yun did not want to let go of any opportunity to plunder resources. Thinking of this, Ling Qingyun couldn't help but laugh. "Alright, as I've said before, all the herbs you need for pill. Refining will be provided by the sect. Since you want to continue, then just do it." At this point, Ling Qingyun felt a little unwilling as well, but he still waved his hand and had the Grand Elder take out a few sets of medicinal herbs for Zhou Yun. "Since you want to continue refining pills," Ling Qingyun thought, "then let me see where your limit is." The Grand Elder was extremely excited when he heard that Zhou Yun was going to continue refining pills. Because he had underestimated Zhou Yun earlier, he had not seen the details of Zhou Yun's actions. Therefore, the moment the pill was formed, he was filled with regret and wanted to slap himself in the face. And now that Zhou Yun was going to continue refining pills, he had to watch carefully. Sir Pill walked over to Zhou Yun and took out all the herbs he had. In a short while, the medicine preparation table in front of Zhou Yun was filled with a layer of medicine. Everyone present, including the sect leader, was dumbfounded and couldn't speak. Zhou Yun's eyes twitched as he looked at the medicinal herbs on the table. "Oh my God! There are so many medicinal herbs. I won't be able to finish them till the day I die." Seeing that Sir Pill was still taking herbs out, Ling Qingyun hurriedly stopped him. "Sir Pill, there are enough medicinal herbs. He doesn't need so many of them." The eyes of the surrounding people widened when they saw these medicinal herbs. Enough medicinal herbs, they wondered. There are endless medicinal herbs, literally. The medicinal herbs on the medicine preparation table were enough for them to use for a solid year. Under Sir Pill's urging, the earth fire beneath the pill furnace began to burn again. The temperature in alchemy room number 1 rose slowly, and in a short while, everyone was covered in sweat. Zhou Yun felt the spiritual qi in his body. Then, he quickly took out a pill and swallowed it. In a short while, the spiritual chi in his body became abundant again. After that, he began to sort out the medicinal herbs. However, the medicinal herbs he sorted out this time were different from before. This time, he didn't make any chi refining pills. Instead, he made other pills. Sir Pill couldn't help but feel shocked as he watched Zhou Yun select the herbs. Is Zhou Yun going to? Chapter 20. Perfect. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Everyone in the alchemy pavilion looked at the herbs that Zhou Yun had picked out with doubt in their eyes. These medicinal herbs seemed to be different from the last time. Could it be that Zhou Yun was going to refine some other pill? Sir Pill's heart jolted as he watched Zhou Yun sort out the herbs. Zhou Yun is going to make vitality pills. How is that possible? When the crowd heard Sir Pill's words, they instantly fell silent as if their vocal cords had been cut. Even if they didn't know much about the vitality pill, they at least knew that it was much higher than the chi refining pill. As was known to all, in the sect, everyone could receive chi refining pills. Although the effects of chi refining pills were different for inner and outer sect disciples, there was always a limit. The medicinal effect of the vitality pill was something that the chi refining pill could never compare to. Other than a few elders who had vitality pills, even inner sect disciples did not have the chance to get them. Judging from this, one could understand that the grade of the vitality pill was much higher than that of the chi refining pill. The shock in Su Wanni's eyes was no less than the others. At this moment, perhaps, she was even more astonished than them. With her experience in refining pills, she could naturally understand the difference between the two types of pills. It could be said that they were totally different from each other. There was no comparison at all. If the upper limit of the chi refining pill was 10, then the upper limit of the vitality pill was 100. The difference between them was huge. After Zhou Yun finished sorting out the herbs, he closed his eyes and simulated the process of refining the vitality pill in his mind as the temperature of the furnace was not high enough to start refining the pills. It was still a simple process of grabbing and adding herbs, but the breathing and rhythm at this moment were very different from those from last time when refining the chi refining pill. The medicinal herbs needed for the vitality pill were much more than those of the chi refining pill. The complexity and the mental energy required for the vitality pill also increased a lot. Zhou Yun was still rehearsing the process in his mind, and his hands began to simulate the operation remotely. An indescribable charm gradually emerged from his body, but no one at the scene noticed it. However, Ling Qingyun and Sir Pill, who both had higher cultivation levels, noticed a slight difference. The two of them frowned slightly and then exchanged a glance. After a while, Zhou Yun opened his eyes and opened the lid of the furnace. He quickly threw all kinds of medicinal herbs into the alchemy furnace with both hands. Just like before, he grabbed the herbs and put them in as if he hadn't thought about the amount and order of the herbs at all. He looked very casual as if he was throwing away garbage. Fortunately, everyone was already used to his alchemy technique, so they were not at all surprised by it. Sir Pill couldn't help but feel astonished by Zhou Yun's technique. Although he would sometimes refine pills like this, most of the time it was because he had already refined those pills thousands of times and was already incomparably familiar with them. On the other hand, whether Zhou Yun was refining the chi refining pill or the vitality pill, he always used such a casual technique. Could it be that he is so familiar with these pills that he will never make a mistake no matter how he refines them? Sir Pill wondered. Then, he shook his head. Zhou Yun just started learning to refine pills today. Judging from the technique he uses to refine pills, it either means that he is extremely confident in himself, or this is a special refining technique that just looks a little casual. With that thought in mind, Sir Pill turned his attention back to Zhou Yun. After another long and bitter wait, everyone's eyes were already filled with anticipation, but Sir Pill was still watching with great interest. His face was full of smiles, and he kept shouting, "How can it be like this?" He seemed to be addicted to it. Finally, with a muffled sound, everyone knew that the pill was about to be formed. Zhou Yun is about to succeed again. TSK, this is very impressive. Is it also a perfect tier pill this time? I didn't believe it at first, but now I can't be sure. Whoosh! Another burst of steam came over. The pill was formed. Upon hearing the sound, Sir Pill impatiently appeared in front of Zhou Yun. Having carefully opened the lid, he took out the pill. At this moment, Zhou Yun was standing at the side. When he opened the furnace just now, he found it unbearably hot. Therefore, this time, he directly stayed far away. They are vitality pills. The moment Sir Pill saw the pills, he was certain that they were vitality pills. Then, he carefully examined the pills. These are very close to perfect tier vitality pills. Sir Pill had over 100 years of experience in refining pills, and his eyes and sense of smell were far superior to those of ordinary people. Just now, after examining them, he found that there was a small flaw on each of these pills. This flaw was so small that it was impossible to detect with the eyes. If he had not smelled a faint medicinal fragrance, even he would have made a mistake. However, Sir Pill was still a little surprised, because even if they were just close to perfect tier pills, there was no way he could refine them. Hearing Sir Pill's words, everyone couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. If Zhou Yun could even refine a perfect tier vitality pill, the whole world would know it. It's not bad. It's just a step away from a perfect tier pill. The medicinal power of this pill should be similar to perfect tier pills. Zhou Yun, you are truly a once-in-a-thousand-years genius of our Spirit Valley. Ling Qingyun sighed in his heart. If Zhou Yun really refined a perfect tier vitality pill, they would be in deep trouble. That's right. That's right. Zhou Yun can refine the vitality pill on his first try. Who else can do that? The people around him chimed in. Zhou Yun had already used his actions to prove that he was a genius. It was already very impressive for him to have such an achievement on his first try. Even if the pills refined this time were not perfect tier vitality pills, it was still a realm that the disciples of the sect would never be able to reach. Zhou Yun did not respond to the crowd's words. He had already entered an unspeakable state. A moment later, he sat cross-legged on the ground with his eyes closed. After a short while, a light blue light appeared on his body. Hey, what's going on with Zhou Yun? A cry of surprise attracted everyone's attention. Everyone looked at Zhou Yun, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground and engrossed in a certain state, not able to be woken up at all. They all thought of something. Could it be that? Everyone, step aside. Zhou Yun is in the midst of enlightenment. After Ling Qingyun had the crowd step aside, he waved his hand and a protective barrier immediately rose around Zhou Yun. This protective barrier could isolate sounds and attacks from the outside to prevent Zhou Yun from being disturbed from his enlightenment. He actually gained enlightenment. Even you and I haven't encountered such a state before. Ling Qingyun and Sir Pill exchanged a look, seeing the deep shock in each other's eyes. Half an hour later, Zhou Yun slowly got up from the ground. After he got up, he immediately started a new round of refining vitality pills. This time, the refinement, in terms of either the technique or the control of the fire, was much better than the last time. There was simply no room for criticism. Seeing this, everyone present, including the sect leader and the Grand Elder, was stunned.